Some of my friends are learning about wool and are a little bit worried about how to clean it. So I thought I would do a little video so you can see how I do it. This particular set has a little poop stain on it, so you can see how I deal with that. I'm not really rubbing it a bunch, I'm just lightly running my finger along it. And what I'm doing right now is the first step that I do, which is getting it, the whole set completely wet and rinsing off any kind of dirt or debris that could be on there. But this is kind of hard to do with one hand. Get them set up here. And actually, sometimes what I do when they have this poop on them, which should have been cleaned off as soon as it happened, but I'm lazy and I didn't do it, so now it's dry. But I kind of run it underneath the faucet, kind of stretch it just slightly, and run it underneath the faucet to try to get any of that caked on stuff off of there. And then this is kind of a process. The water I use is, it's like bath water, but maybe warmer than that, depending on how hot you like your bath. But I like to start it on the hotter side because the warm water is what helps the fibers open up so they can truly get clean. At least that's what I've read. And it always seems to work pretty well for me. I've sold stuff and people say it still looks like new, so I think that I take pretty good care of them. I'm just kind of picking some of this off. And these are almost ready. They're wet on one side, so I'm going to turn them around and get the other side nice and wet. Okay, so both sides are wet. My water is still going. Still good and warm. I'm just going to make it just a tad warmer for my soap. I pretty much do that the whole time. Sorry you're like looking at my hand. I'm really bad at taking videos. I pretty much try to make the water warmer as I go, just slightly, because the wool can handle it just slightly. This is unicorn fiber wash. This is what I use, and I just pump a little bit in there. I had another bottle that was full, and where it is right now at the present moment. In fact, I probably need to find it because that one is almost out. Where is my... Hang on. Alright, found it. So this is not a really deep sink, and I usually try to do a couple of pumps of the unicorn fiber wash. Okay, hold on. Alright, so this is my little woolly bath. I've got a couple squirts of the unicorn wash in there. Nice warm bath going on. Lots of sudsies, and usually I just kind of swish around. Sorry, I'm like bouncing all over the place. Usually I just swish, kind of squeeze a little bit, and then kind of lay them flat and let them soak. Now for that stain, what I'm going to do, I'll hold it over to the side here so that you can see. So now it's spread out. Alright, here's my full bottle. So for this, I'm going to take and I'm just gonna squirt quite a bit of soap on there. And I'm not sure that the poop stain is gonna come out, but I'm gonna try. And so what I'm gonna do here is I'm just letting it kind of soak into the layers. Sorry, it's hard to see under my fingers, but I'm kind of like pinching it in and letting it soak into that layer. I don't believe that the stain went to the outside layer, but I will flip them around and take a look really quick. Okay, so I checked both sides. It looks like the stain is only on the inside, so these guys are gonna, or this set is gonna hang out in this wash bath for about 30 minutes. That's what's recommended for the unicorn wash. On the On the bottle it says 10 to 15, but when I talked to the ladies over at Sloom, they said to do 30 minutes. So that's what I do. I let it soak for 30 minutes. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to show you how I get my lanolin ready. So hold on and I'll show you how I do that. Alright, so I kind of pre-cut everything. It's hard to do this with one hand. So this is about how much lanolin I'm going to use for this one pair. And it's a little bit more than I normally would use, but this pair has never been lanolized. And so usually the first time I like to do a little bit more, just a little heavier application. So I'm just going to drop that into my water. I do a cup full of water. And I do hot water from my tap, or I guess you could do cold. Your lanolin is not going to drop as easily from cold. And I put it in for 1 minute. And then when that comes out, I'll show you what else I do. Alright, it is done. So I'm going to pull it out. Probably shouldn't grab it from the top like that. Anyway, okay, so you see that the lanolin is not really totally melted. If I put it in there for 2 minutes, it would totally melt, but the water, it gets so hot, and you just don't need it that hot. Here's my little piece of Sloom cube. You can get these from Sloom. This is a full-size cube, and you need about that size piece, maybe even half that size. You could also use something that Be Green Naturals sells, and they're called emulsifying cubes, and they're really cool because they're all cut up, and you just drop a few in with your lanolin, and does the same thing. So this process is kind of cool. I know it doesn't work it right now, but you stir and stir and stir. Sometimes I'll let my cube sample stay in there for a little while so it can start to kind of warm up and melt. But you see how the water's getting kind of milky? You want all of the yellow gone. So stir, stir and stir and stir. And sometimes you kind of gotta like get under it. But really, just patience. Keep stirring. There it goes. Isn't it lovely? Okay, so now this is emulsified, okay? So that is ready for Woolies. And you can see I still have quite the big cube. Well, if I can get it back. Where is that booger? Come here, you. Come here. It's like, look at the camera, look at the cup. There it is. So you can see I still have quite a large piece left, and I can save that for next time. Just set that over there. Okay, so now that this is nice and mixed up, I'm going to share you the next trick, or share the next trick with you that I've learned recently, which is...
Hey, I can't see.
Oh, you can't see? The Ziploc bag. So we're going to dump that in there. Okay. So one of the moms tried this out and it worked really well, and I've started to use it too. So this is a gallon-size Ziploc bag, and I just throw my emulsification mix in there. She recommends just a cup. Hey, don't touch that, it's hot, baby. Just a cup of water, which is pretty much what I used. So I get it ready once my wool is hanging out in the bath, and I'm just gonna let it sit there and hang. And it is really hot right now, and you don't want to put wool that isn't hot into hot lanolin. So I'm going to let it sit, and hopefully it will be cooled by the time these are ready to go in.